everyone, and welcome to the big show. I am your host, Jerk, and how is everybody doing? Well, that sounds great. And you've probably no doubt noticed our brand spanking new production studio, which, as of this moment, is invisible. However, you might be hearing some differences. Anyway, we're planning on upgrading our cameras to 4K, getting some new microphones, and really it's just time for a major refresh of everything. So maybe a butt lift and a chin tuck while I'm at it. I mean, I have been growing a gross beard. And speaking of upgrading everything, that's going to get us to today's guests, so let's get them out here. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the premium tier 6 French battleless ship. Give it up for Strasbourg. Yes, the Strasbourg, the butt lift to the Dunkirk, or is it the facelift to the Jean Bart? Yes, I know that's a stretch, but we're talking about it being in a lower tier, younger. Get off my back. When did this boat come out, and when, and from where? Was it the last update? Maybe the one before? I don't know, but it's been in my port sitting there with 10,000 experience since then, and now let's just say we're getting close to 300,000, because between you and me, this is a really good boat. Now, I know there is a perception out there that Jerk hates battleships, and that is simply not true. What Jerk hates are players who only play battleships, and even worse, a single battleship. The joy of this game, if there is any, is the variety that these ships offer, though not necessarily the variety of the commander system. And speaking of, who do we have on here? Well, I'm no weeb, but it is Azure Lane Dunkirk along with Andy Stunningham and Megatron. And I'll say this right now, if you love French battleships, Azure Lane Dunkirk is kind of a must-have for that unique trait which lets you switch shell types instantly. And being able to have the right shell type always is huge, and you'll see me use it all the time in this match. Is it absolutely necessary? No, but it does dial the ship up to 11. So what's the deal with Strasbourg? Is it a Dunkirk? Is it a Jean Bart? Well, it's a little of column A and a little of column B. It's got those 13-inch Dunkirk guns and that Jean Bart reload booster, but there are a few things you don't see. One, its bow is 25 millimeters, which means 15-inch guns overmatch. So while you can bow tank some ships you'll see, you need to be aware of which ones those are and play accordingly. It also has some very trolly armor, but that's trolly to the red team. There are spaces and semi-turtlebacks and yada yada yada. You just yada over the best part. No, I mentioned the reload booster. I kid. But no, this is a really, really solid ship. I think it was Robin on Discord who said this was the best performing tier 6 battleship, and that doesn't really surprise me. But hold on, let's take a timeout so I can show you a certain moment like this. You will often hear battleship players bemoan the fact that all I ever get are overpins. Well, try this one on for size. 100% of their health in a single salvo. That is one of the beautiful things about 13-inch shells, and well, it does help that the Dallas was angled a little bit to give us time for the shells to arm. But how would these shells work against battleships? Let's find out. And pretty decent hit right here. Let's just go ahead and activate that reload booster, and in a few brief moments we can have, 70,000 damage in less than a minute? Yeah, back-to-back dev strikes. I told you this ship was fun, folks, but let's get back to our previous match. So our hero had just taken a torp from a Vostros, having misjudged the torps that he saw on the right side of his screen earlier, thinking they were from the destroyers, but I think they were actually, in fact, from the Aoba. However, we did use our reload booster to take a big chunk of damage out of that Byron, and we just finished them there. Anyway, as soon as this destroyer gets spotted, you know me, it is go time, because if you see something that needs to be done, you sure as heck can't expect your teammates to do that. So rather then yell at my television or toss my controller in the trash or type up a long worded rant on the internet about why won't players shoot destroyers, I will just go do it myself. And check out this maneuverability. Look at these turns. Oh, these are really essentially almost like battle cruisers, right? They need to be flanking, they need to be using their speed. This plays very similarly to both the Dunkirk and the Jean Bart, and to a certain extent the Richelieu. All of these forward-facing French battleships, you need to be taking advantage of the fact that they can just cruise and reposition very, very quickly. So once I saw that destroyer, I knew I had to get rid of them. And I'm thinking about shooting the King George there, but I'm going to try and save our teammate. We don't. So we're going to take that shot and not actually sink them yet. But you know, look at this. I'm actually capping this base because this is what you do as a battleship. You do what needs to be done or you can't complain. Anyway, moving on. Now we've got this Aoba. That is going to be kind of similar to the Dallas clip from earlier. And just sit there and we'll see what happens. No overpins for you. By no means am I implying that you will never overpin. It's just that having smaller shells sometimes is a nicer thing. It's not always great to have the biggest guns out there. Sorry to break the news to you, Yamato players. Now, I wouldn't say that this carrier player has been focusing me, but they have made numerous drop attempts, and check out that agility, allowing me to dodge that whole torp strike. And since it is a Russian carrier, it is an all-or-nothing approach, and they get nothing. Now, back to this Scharnhorst. So, this is definitely going to look like a yoink, but you see my div mate is asking for help because that Scharnhorst could definitely kill them in an instant. They don't, though. My div mate is going to take some torps, and that's going to get us up to 4 ships sunk. So the Kraken hunt is on. Where is that King George? Oh, they just pop up on the mini. Oh my lord. Imagine if that King George had AP loaded right there. That is the power of always having the right ammo selected. They could have potentially dev struck me. As I mentioned, this does have some very trolly spaced armor on the sides there. So anyway, using a reload booster again to try and get rid of this what was a full health King George, maybe 30 seconds ago. And as of right now, we should be getting our Kraken, but we don't. Boo. Well, you know, sometimes you yoink, sometimes you get yoinked. So there's only one thing we can do now, and that is going to be to go hunt down the carrier to secure our Kraken. I can hear it now. How fortunate you are, Jerk, to be top tier, but how does it compete against tier 7? Well, it's true that the majority of the games I've played in this seem to find it top tier, which I assume is due to tier 7 constantly being drug up into legendary. However, I have had a fair number of matches where I am bottom tier, and it still competes just fine. Because the people at tier 7 make the same mistakes people make at every single tier. Simply switch from playing all battleshipy and just play it a little bit more heavy cruiserly. And that's why everyone should play all ships, all classes. Okay, fine, you don't have to. You really just need to do what is fun. But sometimes stepping out of your comfort zone will find you more fun and make you even better at this particular game and probably in life. If all you know how to do is bow tank in a battleship, then you don't really know how to battleship. Similarly, if all you know how to do in a cruiser is spam HE, then you don't really cruiser. And lastly, if all you know how to do in a destroyer is torpedo boat, then you're not really that effective of a destroyer. And I guess to the same extent, if all you know how to do in a carrier is reverse, well, you're not that good of a carrier player anyway. We are getting so close, and I was starting to feel quite nervous that I wasn't going to be able to get this shot. Once this carrier hits the white line at the back and starts doing the T-Bull shuffle You're going to see I take the shot right here, and I'm almost certain that this is going to be the last shot of the game. But as it turns out, that white line has got them shuffling. Fortunately, it is also throwing off all of the shots from my teammates, but I know the secret to this game. Auto aim when people are on the white line. So we're going to line up this shot. Just do the zoom a couple times to make sure it's correct. And we use that auto aim to get the shot out. And this is going to be Kraken 394 in the Strasbourg. Bring it up. Bring up the scoreboard. Here we are, 2,800 base XP for a good game. I have had quite a few 3K XP games in this ship, especially when it's bottom tier for that extra XP goodness. But a GG to all in this game, and that's going to wrap it up for this one. If you are confident enough to admit that size isn't everything, we are talking about shell size here, then give this video a like. If you have to drive a Hummer to make up for a certain shortcoming, then give this video a dislike. Questions, comments, leave them down below, and if you want to spy with your little eye whatever ship we have on next, then think about hitting subscribe. Thanks for watching, folks. I will get back out there for another, and we will talk then.